Hello there, this is the Song System. Welcome to the channel. Hopefully welcome back. We're in a slightly different position today for our Bob Ross Ambient time because we want to do something with the contrabass. Now, at the moment we are very much into our ambient or drone metal music and using some inspiration from that to play around on the contrabass clarinet. It's been a lot of fun and I'm quite happy with some of the things that have been produced with the process so far. One of the things though that the clarinet does not do, that the guitar very much does, is feedback. And that's a big part of a lot of the drone metal music, where the drones are often created through this feedback process. So the clarinet not being able to cooperate with that, unfortunately, we have been thinking about a couple of pedals that we've got that can do it for us. Now, we recently recorded a tune with the Dweller. It's probably going to be something about a train in the title, but as one of our ambient pieces, and that was the Dweller turned up with its resonance, or what's the term that they use for it? Regen, turned all the way up. But one thing I remember Dan from OBNE saying is that it will not self-oscillate even though it's turned all the way up. So what we're looking for are pedals that self-oscillate. And one of them is also an OBNE pedal, the Dark Star, which has a repeat mode which will self-oscillate when the repeats are turned up high enough and the reverb is turned up high enough. So even with all of those turned up to the max, it still takes a little bit of jiggling with the reverb length to get things started. But we've got a setting here going where both of the knobs, control 1 and control 2, are set to noon, and we've got an expression pedal plugged in, and it's set up to change the length of the reverb. And what that does is it allows us to push things into self-oscillation and then back off again. So let's have a listen to that. So this is with reverb down as low as it'll go. Now, the thing to watch out for is that the reverb knob, when it's turned all the way clockwise, it turns into a freeze, and at that point it's not accepting any new input. So here's an example of that. So you could hear how when I was playing notes other than that first C, they weren't going through. But if we can get it in the midpoint, roughly, just before that, then we get into being able to add extra notes even with a long reverb tail. So you can hear that it's accepting new notes in. And there we go, we're building up to some self-oscillation and backing on. It's very interesting as a clarinet player, controlling this with my feet. So let's play around with that a little bit more. Now, the difficult thing there is holding the pedal in that middle position so that it's still accepting new notes and not going into the freeze. I think that we can make that more obvious and make it easier for it to self-oscillate by turning up Control 2, which is the because it's a delay reverb, it's the length of the delay. So I've turned that all the way up clockwise now. I don't think it'll self-oscillate just with the reverb at its lowest, so let's see. Yeah, no self-oscillation there, but with a little bit of push on the reverb via the expression pedal. So here I'm controlling the self-oscillation with the expression pedal. Okay, so that's the Dark Star. I don't believe there's huge amounts of room for variation there. Obviously Control 1 and Control 2 can be played around with a little bit. in order to maybe create some different textures, or what I had before was Control 1, the reverb time, all the way clockwise. Let's just touch on that very quickly. My suspicion is that it won't make a huge amount of difference to the feedback. Like, I don't really hear much of a difference in the texture of it because of that different repeat time. But let's try some other stuff. Maybe a slightly different texture there, perhaps. It felt somewhat softer, maybe. I mean, I guess with the repeat time being bigger, it would make sense if the texture was a little bit softer because of the extra space between repeats. Anyway, that's the Dark Star. The other self-oscillating pedal that came to mind is the Hedra, which is a monster at self-oscillation, nothing less. So let's get rid of the Dark Star, put in the Hedra. Now, the Hedra will self-oscillate. It has a, I cannot remember off the top of my head the name of the mode that it has, but it's the mode without any of the indicators lit. The mode indicators. But when it's on, I've got feedback turned up all the way here. When it's on, if the three pitch dials are put all the way clockwise in terms of their repeat length, in other words, they're not subdividing the beat, and then they're all lined up to the same pitch, then they will as you can hear, they will self-oscillate very easily. Now, one way to soften that somewhat is with the micro tone knob, and you can hear how that's introducing some really interesting texture there. But it still is really keen to oscillate. So what I've got going here is I'm just aligning two of the knobs, and with microtone off, two of the knobs just in unison, that's enough to make things self-oscillate. But by in unison, I mean both of the knobs at noon in terms of their pitch. But what I've been doing is by turning the microtone knob up to about 9, then that stops it from self-oscillating quite so readily. You can still hear it a little bit there perhaps, but it's not quite so keen. And that means that with the clarinet we can actually push that you can see how it's doing it a little bit there. Let's add the clarinet into that mix. Yeah. That was getting a bit much there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the microtone knob up to like 10. It's I'm going to put it more like 11. So with the microtone knob at 11, we still get a little bit of that self-oscillation creeping in. But we can kind of like push it and back away from it with the clarinet. So. So there's probably a way, there definitely is a way of doing this with a foot pedal, an expression pedal, as we did with the Dark Star. But what we're trying to do here is create something that's kind of self-standing. Now it could be, it's a very sensitive thing, the Hedra, but just by backing that down just a little bit, that's the micro pitch knob, by backing that down a little bit, we might even be able to get things a bit more intense. Let's see. Down again. Okay, we're back at like 9 o'clock now, and you can hear how it's a bit more keen to self-oscillate now. Yeah, too much again. I mean, the Hedra is so delicate. What I would like to be able to do is figure out a way to tame it a little bit more, so that it's not quite as wild. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring, like, I've got the feedback all the way clockwise, I'm bringing it back to like 4 o'clock, and I'm turning off the microtone. Oh no, there we go, that's not going to work. But maybe with a little bit of microtone, like at 9 o'clock-ish. Let's see how this goes. Yeah, that's definitely a step in the right direction. Yeah, the Hedra is wild. It really is. Even turning off the power there, it's still turning off the even by bypassing it there, we're still getting feedback going on. But definitely something worth exploring. I mean, that with some fuzz or you know, some fancy reverb after it might well be something worth listening to. So there we go. Some feedback with the self-oscillating pedals, the Hedra and the Dark Star. Thank you for sticking around for this little experiment, and I hope it's been interesting for you, and hopefully as fun for you as it was for me. So yeah, thank you very much. Take care.